Deep in the heart of Texas for the final game of 1994, the youthful Baylor Bears against the experienced Washington State Cougars in the second Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Lightning in a bottle best describes the Baylor offense, relying on its big play capabilities to earn co-champion status in the Southwest Conference. Led by true freshman quarterback Jeff Watson, the Bears used both air and land on their trek to San Antonio. The explosion for Washington State comes from the other side of the ball with a defense that yielded but 12 points per game. Known by their faithful as the Palouse Posse, the 25th ranked Cougars are led by Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year, Mark Fields. The curtain on 1994 closes with a big play against the big hit with one certainty: something's got to give at this year's New Year's Eve party. Final college football game of 1994 from San Antonio, Texas. It's the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. And our conditions are perfect for a matchup of the Pac-10 and the Southwest Conference. The Baylor Bears take on the Washington State Cougars, number 25 in our country, both with 7-4 records. Welcome inside the Alamo Dome, everyone. Happy New Year. Dave Sims, Doc Walker, good to have you with us, and we're excited about our ball game tonight because when you think about Washington State, you think about quarterbacks over the years. Thompson, you have Jack Thompson, and Mark Rippon and Drew Bledsoe. To think of those guys. But now, the Washington State Ball Club, they hang their hat on defense, and it is a vicious attacking defense.
You said it right. You know, when you look at this defensive group, 9 seniors head the famed Palouse Posse. And these guys are relentless. 7 of the 11 were either first or second team all Pac-10. And they are led by Defensive Player of the Year, Mark Fields. Look at the numbers, folks. This is staggering. These guys only gave up 4 rushing touchdowns. They are relentless. They have speed, they have power, they have it all. And they'd like to go out tonight in grand style.
They're going to have to do it against a Baylor ball club that has been explosive itself. 33 points a game, led by a freshman quarterback, and he has a nice stable of running backs, too.
Yeah, he really does, but you win when you put up against a great fast flow defense because you have a great offensive line. This group has been injured for the most part of the season. They are healthy tonight. He's got 4 running backs that have rushed for more than 400 yards. And the key is another true freshman, Clifton Rubin. This young man has 9 touchdowns, and they hope he expands on that total tonight. If they do that and don't turn over the football, they've got a shot to surprise the Cougars.
They are ready to get it on down here in San Antonio. Glad to have you with us as we welcome in 1995. Kickoff is moments away. We'll be right back.
Let's play soccer!
We were meant to live our life in pairs.
Ever heard of Noah's Ark?
Ever heard of the Titanic?
Nobody died in your family. I know you didn't inherit any money.
I say you CIA. Oh, will you get off that already?
A movie anytime you want one. The Movie Channel.
I don't make $1 million, but I make a full hit in style. I don't make reservations, I just flash my Texas smile. I make the most of life so naturally. I make mine hug and kiss and see. Make mine hug and kiss and see.
The Builders Square Alamo Bowl is presented by Builders Square. We'll get you squared away.
Back here for the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Third member of our broadcast team. He's working the sidelines this evening. Let's go to Dan Debenham.
All weekend long, we have talked about the vaunted defense of the Washington State Cougars. Let's go ahead and talk about their offense for a moment. And when you do, look for them to establish a running attack and go right at Baylor freshman nose tackle Roderick Kenny. If they need to go through the air, that shouldn't be a problem. Chad Davis, their sophomore quarterback, set a national high school passing record out of Mira Mesa High School in San Diego. Turning our attention to Baylor, let's talk about their defense. After all, they were 9th in the nation in total takeaways. Baylor scored 1/3 of their points off of those turnovers. Head coach Chuck Reedy of the Baylor Bears had this to say earlier in the week. He made this guarantee at a luncheon. I promise all Texans we will fight just as hard as those men who defended the Alamo. Just one problem with that, guys. A quick look at the history book, and you see that of all those men that defended the Alamo, none survived.
Excellent point, Dan, as we look at Chuck Reedy in his second season at Baylor, longtime offensive coordinator at Clemson. Done a good job to get this program going again. Succeeds Grant Teff, who had a fabulous career at Baylor University. He'll be matching wits with Mike Price in his 6th year as the head coach at Washington State. His record there is the second best percentage in Washington State history after Babe Hollingbury, who had a .625 winning percentage in his years at Wazoo. Mike's a fun guy, and got some interesting stories about him and the outstanding year by his Washington State Cougars. Chad Davis, starting quarterback for the Cougars, the sophomore who put up just phenomenal numbers, Doc Walker, out of high school during his high school career in San Diego. Went to 3 high schools, but when he finished up, he had the national passing record of 9,332 yards.
No, he is shown he didn't really have to make any excuses about his ability to throw the football. They have definitely changed the focus here. What he has to do now, Dave, is just not make mistakes.
Ty Atterbury will kick it off. Ty's out of Kingwood, Texas. And deep to receive Torrey Hunter and Singor Mobley. Expecting a crowd close to 50,000 here at the Alamo Dome, which is also the home of the San Antonio Spurs of the NBA. Baylor won the toss and elected to defer. And we're underway, the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Mobley from his 1. And not a lot of room as he swarmed under penalty flag up around the 20-yard line. The return was up to the 15-yard line. Return of 14 yards. Referee Terry Turlington, the game officials out of the Big 8 Conference, umpire Frank Gaines, Al Bowden's the head linesman. Illegal block in the back against Washington State, so they will be in a tremendous hole. Kevin Hicks will start at running back. He's very dependable. He's got 3 touchdowns. He's out of Crenshaw High School in Los Angeles. Albert Kennedy's a big play guy, stands 6'3", 198 pounds. He was born in Dallas. Sort of a homecoming, him being back here in Texas. And Scott Sanderson, best offensive lineman for the Washington State Cougars. Got big-time potential. They say he's got great feet. Chad Davis completed 56% of his passes. Switching off now against the Baylor defense, which is a base 3-4. He'll throw and gets it outside, and an incompletion to Jay Dumas. Dumas, the slot back, and that pass badly underthrown by Chad Davis. For the Baylor defenders, Scotty Lewis at the defensive end, 7 sacks last year, 4 this year, second team All-Southwest Conference. LaCurtis Jones is outstanding, yet small at the outside linebacker. He made All-Conference also at 83 unassisted tackles. And Adrian Robinson, he anchors the secondary. He is their second leading tackler. To look at LaCurtis Jones, 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars. Keep it on the ground, and the swarming defense of Baylor. Loss of 2 on that play as the inside linebacker, Gary Bandy, got in a hurry, Doc.
These guys have got to recapture the line of scrimmage. They need quickness. They realize they may be a little undersized when it comes to the Cougars. This is just sheer speed. This is 1-2, man. You're in a big bowl game.
Beg your pardon, it was number 58, Glenn Coy. So 3rd down and 12 coming up.
And those freshmen come in and get a tackle that way, you might expect them to have a good ball game.
This is just what Baylor wants. Washington State in a deep hole early going here. Davis gets it out, underthrows, and a completion to Eric Moore's tight end. And that picks up 7 yards, but that will bring on the punt team. So a good start for the Baylor Bears.
Well, this is definitely what they needed, because they have got to get some confidence going. A lot of young players, 4 or 5 or 6 freshmen, 3 or 4 redshirt freshmen. So it's very important that they play off emotion and fuel themselves.
George Martin, Jr. out of Hobart, Indiana, will kick to Ben Bronson, who's had a terrific year. He's out of Jasper, Texas. Good kick for George Martin. Penalty flag. Martin averaging close to 40 yards a kick, and that ball is down on the Baylor side of the field, but a penalty flag back at the 4-yard line.
Yeah. You may have a roughing.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, so there's a break for Washington State. Number 19, Philip Kent, the guilty party on that play.
Well, the tough part about it is that we talked about emotion a play ago, but you have to play smart from the neck up. This is great effort. That is not intentional. But your launch, your aiming point, you have to make sure that in the event you miss the football, you don't make contact.
Roughing the kicker on the defense. First down.
So a break for the Cougars. That can really take the steam that was gained with the terrific defensive series. Take it out of a ball club.
Well, it's not good, but it's a test. It's going to happen throughout the course of a football game. Now you just need a little senior leadership. Unfortunately, there are not that many seniors. Chris Lewis, a free safety, I'm sure he'll try to get in and settle this group down, and they just got to believe they can continue to make some plays.
David Spence in the backfield. Dumas in motion. Just underway, the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl, and another defensive play, and a fine one by Darrell Gardner, number 51, the left defensive end, and lose a yard on that play. So Washington State having a very difficult time getting the running game going.
Well, first of all, it was Glenn Coy. Now you get Gardner. This is just quickness. You watch down the bottom of your screen. That's a great slip technique. Paul Reed didn't have a shot at it. I mean, you got to put a Rydell helmet and get good pad placement. That time his pads would turn, and this is an athlete that you just use leverage. He's 6'7", 296 pounds. There's a lot of him. You got to get some of him.
It's interesting talking to Jack McDonnell, who's the offensive coordinator, as they send out 5 wide receivers here. He said his guidepost to the offense, don't screw it up, save it for the defense, as they get Dumas across the 30 to about the 33-yard line, knocked out of bounds by George McCullough. Pickup of 6 yards on that play.
Davis, you know, the worst thing you can do is and really insult a football team. This defense, you know, we've not said a lot about them all week long. Young people hear about that, and they want to come out and show that they can play with the Cougars defensively. And defense is so much a part of recognition and aggressiveness. If you want to get there and you go in a relentless attitude, you can be good.
3rd down and 5. Ball at the 33 for Chad Davis in Washington State. Straight back to throw with decent protection. Steps up, throws, and a completion. If they give it to him, it's enough for 1st down, and it is to Chad Carpenter, their steady wide receiver out of Weiser, Idaho, brought down by Adrian Robinson, a pickup of 15 yards.
Well, Chad earned this one. They didn't give him anything. He runs a great route, and the key to this is that, number one, Chad looks at him the entire way, which is not a great sign, but he gets flushed out of the pocket. He comes straight across there. A lot of guys run square in, and they drift. He kept it right down the line and secured the catch.
Chad Davis started all 11 games for the Cougars, 8th in the Pac-10 in passing. He'll have a 4 wide out set this time. Bottom of your screen, the trips formation. 1st and 10 from the Cougar 48. Try the running game, maybe a couple of yards up the middle. Not a lot doing there.
And so far, still a good sign by Baylor defensively. You know, as Dan mentioned in his open about Roderick Kenny, this young freshman, redshirt freshman at nose tackle. I mean, it takes a real stud to play. Whenever you run a 34, you got a bubble, and they lost Steve Strahan. And there's Bob Cope, who's their defensive coordinator. He mentioned to us that when you lose a guy like Strahan, who was the best nose tackle in the Southwest Conference, it's tough to rebuild.
2nd and 7 from the 50. Try to get outside. Gain of 3 on that play. Derek Sparks, the running back, the junior out of Santa Ana, California, at Mater Dei High School.
Old stomping ground.
So that'll set up a 3rd down and 5 for the Cougars. Ball in Baylor territory.
This has been a point where Baylor has not been real good at it, 31% on third down. Someone now needs to come up with a tip or an interception, some positive play defensively.
Washington State conversely converts 29% of its third downs. Play action under pressure. Curtis is there, but delivery is good. The completion to Eric Moore.
He fumbled
But a fumble right at the Baylor bench. They're going to say he was down. The ball was popped loose by Joe Manor. And that was a terrific hit. Good pressure by LaCurtis Jones. Pickup of 8 yards on that play.
All these kids defensively have to do is just maintain their poise, because they will hit you. I mean, really, Baylor's making a statement now defensively. You look at what Chad Davis has to deal with. Good play action. You'll see a lot of this. Washington State is good. Throws well on the run, but he's hit. You get right out to the big tight end who creates a pretty good cushion, and the ball is away. You watch this. Now, you can say the knees are down, but that rear end is down. And that ball is out of there. That is great defense.
Two tight ends now, Moore and Knuff in the game for Washington State. Moore's 89, Knuff is 98. Knuff in motion. And a lot of running room. Down to the 30, but a penalty flag. And finally knocked out of bounds is Frank Madu. But a penalty flag back upfield, probably holding. They'll bring that one back. But that hole opened up for Frank Madu. Adrian Robinson finally ran him out of bounds.
Now, this is a 4-4 guy in the 40-yard dash. You do not want to give him open grass. You know, we'll say this as we watch this about Washington State. I mean, Baylor has just flat beat them off the ball. Here they found the bubble. They ran right to the bubble side. You have some holding there. You can get an open play if you got guys holding.
10-yard penalty. Follow the foul. Repeat first down.
Great blocks downfield. You know, I love wide receivers that will pay the price and block. I mean, it's a two-for-one. It's a twofer. I like that. That's worth a milkshake. But if not around you, though, because you take it from him.
No, I'll buy.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
buying.
right.
It's
yeah.
the Dave Sims
You
Memorial
never buy.
Milkshake.
You never
Did
buy.
last night, 1st and 17. That's a wipeout of a 21-yard gain by Frank Madu. Two tight ends again here. 3 minutes plus into the second annual Builder Square Alamo Bowl. They get it to Knuff. Knuff delivers the blow, gets it down to the 32-yard line, brought down by Joe Manor. That's a pickup of 13. Justin Still, number 30, also involved in the tackle.
Well, let's see if it works once. Why don't we try it again? Same play action, different side to it. You watch the waggle. He comes out this time. He has nobody in his way. And Dave, we watched Dave against Washington Huskies, and I mean, he knows how to deliver a blow when he has the football in his hand. This guy is not a real big guy, but boy, he will hit you.
He delivered what Mike Price called a POD rather, program of discouragement.
Absolutely.
What a pop he laid on a Washington defender. 4 wideouts, 3 to the bottom of your screen. Second down and 4. Madu, not nearly the running room he had last time. Scotty Lewis, number 80, and Glenn Coy, number 58, there for Baylor.
You know, this is how I judge defensive players. How many guys make plays on the opponent's side of the line of scrimmage? I mean, these guys create, they get penetration, and they tackle. They don't only just make contact, but they bring you down.
Baylor defense not nearly as heralded as their offensive counterparts right now.
They're awful young.
Very young ball club. Right now they look at a 4 wideout set. And there's a whistle. Play clock was at 5 seconds. Timeout called by the Baylor Bears, so they have 2 remaining. Just underway here at San Antonio. We'll be right back.
Everything's riding on this play, folks. Looks like they're going for 2. The quarterback drops back and rolls right. He spots a receiver cutting across the end zone. He drills it. Oh, he gets there. Did he hang on to it? The fans hold their breath. Yes, they got it. They got the 2. And the fans go wild.
You may have heard rumors of a town where everybody has a good time. Every size, every age, everybody. A town where all kinds of music fills the air and you can be a star. Well, there is such a town. It's called Fiesta, Texas. And every day you can enjoy more live music than any other place. If that sounds good, then come on to Fiesta, Texas. Because the rumors are true. There is a town built just for fun.
The Mercury Villager is both versatile and easy to use. Allow us to demonstrate. It seats 7 comfortably. Rear passengers can listen to music in private. Middle seats fold down into tray tables. And with Villager's sliding rear seat, you just slide it forward for more room. Or remove the middle seats and slide all the way to the front. Proving the Villager is so easy to use, even well, let's just say it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Villager from Mercury.
Builder Square Alamo Bowl is presented by Builder Square. We'll get you squared away. And in part by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of Lincoln luxury automobiles.
A gorgeous nighttime shot of the Alamo, the rallying point for the birth of the Republic of Texas. Suffered a major loss here. Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie, 1836. It was March of that year.
Tell you what, the beauty of this place is overwhelming. It really is.
Hospitality has been outstanding. Washington State, aided and abetted mightily by the roughing the kicker by Philip Kent, has kept this drive going close to 6 minutes, and this will be the 12th play. Talk about a guy agonizing on the sideline right now.
Well, you just don't want him to score. Whenever you create a mistake as a player, you just hope to goodness you don't give up 7.
Kevin Hicks, the lone setback. Davis going for it all. Down the sideline. He's got a man there. Caught. Down inside the 5-yard line to the 2-yard line. Albert Kennedy, a 33-yard gain for the Cougars. It's 1st and goal.
Now, that's just a wide receiver that wants to get to the football. You watch again, you know, I really like to watch quarterbacks and see if they telegraph. He's telegraphed now twice, which tells me that he has a lot of confidence in this receiver that he can go up and just take the football. There's been a lot of the alley-oop passes a la basketball, but this doesn't really require that. It's just poor judgment on playing the ball as a defensive back.
George McCullough burned badly. 1st and goal. A lot of movement now for the Cougars. Sparks and Hicks in the backfield. They give it to Hicks. Touchdown, Cougars. Kevin Hicks, his 4th score of the 1994 season, and the Cougars are stuck first.
Baylor's really right now got to continue himself. Well, watch Jones. He leaves his feet, man. That is a relentless effort. It's not for naught because he doesn't make contact. Arm tackles on the goal line don't work. You got to stick your helmet right under the shoulder pads.
Big time drive. Tony Truant tacks on the extra point. Fabulous drive aided by mistake by Baylor. The Cougars have struck first here in the 2nd annual Builder Square Alamo Bowl. We'll be right back.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the force. Get his battery.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and going.
Appearances can be deceiving. For example, do you see 2 faces or a goblet? Which line is longer, A or B? Is this the interior of a full-size luxury car with room for 5 and standard dual airbags? Actually, it's the fully equipped Mercury Tracer, the small car that will change the way you look at small cars. Tracer from Mercury. Now, is this Mercury Tracer half empty or half full?
San Antonio, where we predict you'll have the best time every time. For a free vacation kit with valuable discounts, give us a call.
Bob Cope, the Baylor defensive coordinator, trying to make some adjustments. Washington State has broken out in front 7-0 on a touchdown run by Kevin Hicks. Impressive drive, Doc Walker. 13 plays, 91 yards, 6 and change, and terrific production after missing their first third down opportunity. Hit on the next few, and of course the big play was the roughing the kicker penalty against Philip Kent.
What's impressive about it, Dave, is that they were able to capitalize on a mistake, go after a young club, and go right for the jugular. That impresses me when you get a senior-laden ball club that will sense that and take advantage of it.
That's Ben Bronson, deep to receive the kickoff from Tony Truant. High kick, they send it to Bronson at about the 6-yard line. Up the side, oh, what a collision at the 26-yard line. That's a return of 22 yards. Good coverage by the Cougar special teams unit. That hit was a big one by number 20, Derek Henderson. Khalif Muhammad, feature back. He's a Johnny Rodgers type. For those of you who remember the Nebraska Heisman Trophy winner, Ben Bronson, you've seen him on special teams. Great baseball player, too. He's the top receiver for the Baylor Bears. And Marty Dunbar will have a battle going against some fabulous players up front, Eaton and Sassa. He could be overmatched, but we'll see how things turn out. Here's the freshman quarterback we've told you about, Jeff Watson. He'll throw. Khalif Muhammad. They're going to try to break it, and you talk about swarming to the ball at the 29-yard line. A gain of 1. Looked like something was there, and it closed up in a hurry. Ron Childs and John Rushing, they led the attack there. Don Sassa, terrific beach volleyball player, too. The scouts come to look at Eaton, then they say, who's 94? He's not bad. It's all conference. Mark Fields, Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-10. And Torrey Hunter plays next to his cousin, Singor Mobley, who's second team all-conference. Not much there on the running game. Mark Fields with the stop. 2-yard pickup by the fullback, Bradford Lewis.
They are fun to watch. They really are. You know, they were standing on the sidelines. It just had to be driving them nuts because they couldn't get on the field of play. And they had a lot of excitement. You've been walking around enjoying the bowl festivities all week. And defensively, now you get a chance to go out and hit somebody. But Baylor so far has been nice. They've come out, established a pass, and then went right at him with a dive.
3rd and 7, Bill Doba says he thinks his defensive line can whip the Baylor offensive line. Let's find out. Watson's first throw, incomplete. Khalif Muhammad had it, and he drew a crowd of 5 swarming Cougars. Mark Fields was there. So they like to call themselves swarming like piranha, and that they did in their first series. 3 and out for the Cougars.
They like the jaws, but let's face it, Muhammad was open. If he has to do is catch the football, he's got a first down. And John Stanley was even more so, but he ran right up the middle. So I wouldn't panic. There's a lot of excitement right now for the Cougars, but the play was open.
Ty Atterbury into punt. Jay Dumas is deep to receive for Washington State. Atterbury, pretty good punt. And it takes a bounce against Washington State. 34 yards. It looked like it was really going to take off, but just 34 yards on that punt. Let's get down and see what's happening on the sidelines. Here's Dan Debenham.
Hey, thanks, guys. That was a terrific drive by the Cougars. You know, Cougar coach Mike Price, he is known for trying to loosen his team up, doing something exciting before a big game. Well, guess what he did? He gave them new clothes to wear. This was designed by Russell Athletics. These are brand new pants. You can see that they kind of look like chaps. Kind of appropriate since we're here in San Antonio. Chaps, Western and all. Hey, they love them. Silver and crimson. They're doing a great job in them right now. Let's go back to you.
Thanks, Dan. The Palouse posse. It all ties together. Of course, the Palouse area, great farmland in southwest Washington. That encompasses the Pullman area. Right now, 7-0 Cougars. Their second time with the ball. Trying to get outside with Hicks. And he swarmed under. Nice job of stringing out that play. Gain of 3. But Curtis Jones is there, number 44, with help from number 4, Joe Manor.
It's hard to do it any better than this. If you watch the flow of it, anytime you can spread an offense out, you're doing a good job. You got a misdirection, but they're not fooled by it. And you watch his pad placement you like from the outside in, but when you get cornerbacks that will be disciplined, and Manor played that very well. And Jones is a football player.
Yes, he is. Stud. Didn't like the contact in Pee Wee football. I'll tell you more about that after this play. Put the back in the wing formation. Davis is going to throw, gets it outside. Should have been picked off. It was right there to be had by Chris Lewis. He'd be the first one to tell you he could have had 6.
That would have been interception number 4 for the senior. And the thing about it, you're going to get 2 or 3 opportunities in a football game to change the course, change the outcome. This is one. It would have been a great catch, but you got to make great plays. You know, when you come into a football game and you're young, you got a lot of freshmen and redshirt freshmen playing, that's one he'll look back on and just go, ah.
Chuck Reedy's thinking right now.
Yeah.
That ended a streak of 6 straight completions for Chad Davis. 3rd and 8 at the 37. 7-0 Washington State. Davis to throw, screen. And that was poorly thrown as well as nicely defensed. A good read by number 99, Tony Tubbs, read that and came in and delivered a blow. So 3 and out now for the Cougars. The Baylor Bears have a good defensive sequence.
Well, Tony Tubbs, again, another one of the few seniors that plays on Coach Cope's defense. They did a great job, one of recognition, 2 of pursuit to the football. I mean, Davis so far has completed some passes, but he's not looked sharp. Got away with one with the long one, and Baylor is showing you right now through Southwest Conference pride. They are competing.
A big play, of course, the 33-yarder to Kennedy that set up the Hicks scoring touchdown run. Martin with the punt. And he is down. Bronson is at the 31-yard line. Baylor gets a chance to get its offense going. We'll be back to San Antonio. Stay with us.
Are you a jock?
Christmas at Clubhouse Golf, America's finest off-course golf shop. You'll find everything your golfer wants for Christmas at true discount prices. From the latest high-tech clubs to name-brand clothes and shoes, to golf balls, gloves, and accessories for stocking stuffers. Clubhouse Golf, a golf supermarket with everything you need for your golfer this Christmas.
Right on course, Clubhouse Golf.
Pontiac, the car you've come to love, the name you've come to trust. When you think of Pontiac, think of Freeman Pontiac in Hearst. At Freeman, we do business the family way because we are a family, not just a name. There's no pressure, no hassle, no gimmicks, just great cars, great deals, and service second to none. So at Freeman, you're just one of the family. Freeman Pontiac, the #1 volume Pontiac dealer in Tarrant County, Northeast Loop 820 at the Pipeline Glen.
North Carolina won't have to travel far to take on one of their arch rivals. But North Carolina State will bask in the comfort of Reynolds Coliseum. Later, Felipe Lopez and Zendon Hamilton will grab the Big East spotlight when St. John's and Providence go head-to-head. North Carolina versus North Carolina State. St. John's versus Providence. It all begins Wednesday at 7, only on ESPN.
The mascot of the Baylor Bears. They use North American black bears. They adapt very well to humans. Pretty friendly little fella.
Got to put a jersey on it. They could have used him in that last series.
Boy, that
is to be the guy holding him. That's the guy I could never do that.
Make sure that little buddy gets his vittles.
Have to have a lot of food in my other hand.
Well, it's a 31 for the Baylor Bears. Have a triple I formation look. They said they're going to change it up. They give it to the fullback. They need to establish the fullback. That's Bradford Lewis, the psychology major out of Waco, Texas. And he's the key point for both teams. Baylor says that we got to establish him, and Washington State, Don Sosa, number 94, with the hair there.
Yeah, we'll see Sosa and also Eden, these 2 tackles. Well, you know, when you get close to 300 pounds, you wear your hair any way you want to wear it.
Don Sosa.
I'm not going to come down there until the guy's
yeah, right.
haircut.
He's gone to the Senior Bowl, and they like his chances at the pro level. 2nd down and 10. The draw, it opens up. Big time. Sherrod Douglas making his homecoming. He's out of Converse, Texas. 9-yard pickup.
They expect a great day out of this young man. He's got the tools, one of the great track guys, highly recruited athlete. And this is what you need. There's an explosion. There's a hole there. I could get through that hole. I might still be about 2 yards behind him, but the bottom line to it is that they're going to start to get some confidence. because they're going up against the big, bad Cougars, and they are starting to get some things happen.
Major recruiting war to get Douglas away from Texas, and Baylor won it. Third down and very short. Established a fullback. They give him the first down. Tackled by Ron Childs after Bradford Lewis picks up the first down. So it looked like the Bears maybe getting a little something going there. They want to get 4 yards every time he carries the ball.
Well, Dave, when we talk about a stunting defense, a defense that is very aggressive, the one thing it will do will allow you some chances, some slants and some angles that makes the blocks easier for you. Sometimes they take themselves out of the plays, and you can get in there and get you a pop for 4 or 5 yards.
Bill Doba, defensive coordinator and linebacker coach.
He's angry right now.
You bet. Deep back is Douglas. Comes a reverse. And it's gone nowhere. Khalif Muhammad is taken down back at the 35-yard line. Sosa and Dwayne Patterson, number 86, they lose 8 yards on that play.
Yeah, you know, Jack Crowley, offensive coordinator for the Bears, is just trying to get him to think about things early, because this is ill-advised. This is a fast flow defense that penetrates extremely well. You're going up against seniors. Down south, they've seen that thing 100,000 times. They've seen it in their sleep, and they come up and you get a bad play.
Don,
what'd you say about his hair, Dave?
He's Samoan-born. He can wear it any way he likes.
I'm going to go talk to him after the game and be sure to tell him what you said.
Put it this way. If I could wear it that way, I would, but...
Yeah, me too. Those days are over, baby.
You ain't lying. Second and long. Watson going to step back and throw. And he underthrows Stanley. But a penalty flag across the field in front of the Baylor bench.
Flag on the play.
That is a play. Get the adjudication here. Terry Turlington offsides against Washington State. We may see a lot of that action by Watson if they can get the fullback going.
On the defense. Repeat, second down.
Well, Watson rushed that a little bit. He didn't get his feet set up. He's going to, I mean, the guy's a freshman, and he knows that everybody's coming at him. And Coach Bryce now a little worried, because you look at your defense. This is what you lead by. The Cougars lead with defense, and I'm sure they'd like to have a more bad plays than they've had so far against Baylor.
3 wideouts in this set for the Bears. Watson, swing pass, get it out to Douglas. The screen, it works big time, and he's knocked down as he gets into Washington State territory. Mark Fields slowed him up, a gain of 11 yards. But Gerard Douglas, Doc, is showing tremendous speed. You see why they have to get him the ball.
Well, he's got explosion. This is the one thing you can't coach. A guy with just great acceleration. Watch the block, though. See, Dustin Denard, the wide receiver, makes a great block. Then you get the big guys out, leaving their body. I'd love to see big fellas, 300-pounders, that will leave their feet and make contact. Flush hits.
7-0 Washington State. A little over 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Second annual Builder Square Alamo Bowl. Watson to throw again. Penalty flag. That ball knocked down by Sosa. Watson. You see that? Little exchange of 5 there. You rarely see that with a QB and a DB.
Washington State, I mean, they're not shy. I mean, they'll talk the talk.
That's
and
right.
They usually walk the walk as well.
Chris Hayes, the guy that likes to talk about the legal motion against shift against Baylor. The guys who really chatted up: Troy Hunter, number 24, Sosa 94, and Eaton 90.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield. Penalty is applied. 4th down.
It's one of those little things, once again, that will just gnaw on a young offense. I mean, their margin of error is so slight at this point, going up against these fifth-year seniors, that they really need to make sure that they've got everything together once they break the huddle. They cannot afford a mistake.
Baylor club dominated by underclassmen. Good year. 7-4, 4-3 in the Southwest Conference, tied with Rice, Texas, Texas Christian, and Texas Tech. Atterbury will kick to Torrey Hunter. And they're coming after him. And a good high kick. Hunter calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 18-yard line. That's a 31-yard punt for Atterbury. More bowl action coming your way here on ESPN. It's NC State against Mississippi State in the Peach Bowl. That's coming up tomorrow at 8 Eastern time here at ESPN. And then on Monday, the Hall of Fame Bowl, Wisconsin against Duke. And the head coach of Duke, Fred Goldsmith, the coach of the year. Fabulous campaign for the Duke Blue Devils. They can do it in football as well as basketball. More bowl action coming up on ESPN.
He really did a great job. He turned that program upside down and around.
From the 19, Sparks, penalty flag behind the play. So we'll see what that's all about. Derek Sparks, Santa Ana, California. Coming off a shoulder injury and the same call, legal formation. And let's get some sideline updates. Let's go to Dan Debenham.
All right, thanks, Dave. Look for the Baylor defense to get more aggressive. Bob Cope, the defensive coordinator over here on the sidelines just before they went out there, said, listen, guys, if you've got one of those great big Cougar offensive linemen in front of you, I want you to get out there and hit them. He wants those linemen, his linemen, in the backfield. So watch for that.
All right, Dan, thank you. That's something to look for as we go for a 1st and 15 now.
They're not backing down. That's the bottom line.
That's exactly right. Trips formation for Chad Davis in Washington State. Quick pass outside. What a hit. That's a big-time hit. Adrian Robinson showing why he's all Southwest Conference. He stuffed that bad boy out immediately.
I love that. Wow. I really do. You know, you can't stop people from completing passes, but you can definitely discourage the notion that you want to go out and catch it. I mean, you know you're going to get hit as a receiver, but you don't expect this that often, and then you finish well. Take another look. Very nice. Fortunately, he was just able to slide out just a little bit, or that would have been a flush hit. That young man, 3 interceptions, 96 tackles on the year. He's a keeper.
Baylor safeties, Robinson 6'2", 210, and Lewis 6'3", 211. 2nd and 12, Hicks in motion. Davis looks his way. Flushed out. In trouble. Takes it down and gets out of bounds on the Cougars sideline. They run him out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
Boy, Glenn Coy had an opportunity to make a play and just couldn't do it. His approach went a little wide. If he could have been able to squeeze that, he'd have had a sack.
Washington State dominating stat-wise. They lead 7-0. Facing a 3rd down and 3. Ball will be at the 26-yard line.
It's one of those stats that really doesn't show you and tell you what's going on in this football game. When Baylor has really come out and answered the challenge. They believe they can play with the Cougars at this point.
Roughing the kicker penalty really set up Washington State its first time out. Chad Davis throws underneath. Loose ball, but it goes out of bounds. Goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line. The completion to Jay Dumas. It was knocked out of his grasp by Chris Lewis. Good job by number 18, Chris Lewis, the free safety.
Well, once again, what they're trying to do is run some underneath routes. You get a very aggressive defense, and you try to slide a good athlete right underneath, and he's able to put the ball in his hands, and hopefully he'll make something happen. This time he drops the ball, and again shows you that Baylor's tackling. They're going at it. They're trying to strip it.
First time the Cougars had the ball. 6 minutes, 32 seconds to drive 91 yards on 13 plays, and they have the touchdown lead. Final stages here, first quarter in San Antonio. That's Knupp, the tight end, loose ball. Let's see who comes up with it.
On the verge, man, you just knew that something was going to happen for Baylor. I mean, whether or not they get this is not the point. The point is that they're around the football. The ball is on the turf. You know, they're grabbing people, they're hitting people. They right now have mirrored the Cougars' aggressive approach to defense.
McCluskey, number 68, the center, recovered the fumble. He and Davis had a misconnection. This late in the season, game 12, you don't expect that from a veteran junior center. And Chad Davis, who's played a lot of football in his high school career, now a sophomore.
Yeah, you don't, but it's bowl week. You know, these young guys have had a chance to get around and have some fun, and you got to get refocused. You know, this is an unwarranted timeout as well.
Davis didn't like the look, so he calls a timeout. 2 times out remaining for both ball clubs. Davis looks a little bit frustrated. His club leads 7-0 with 50 seconds to go. We'll be back to the Alamo Bowl after this.
You know, an apple sitting around too long, it goes bad. It's the same thing with a new battery. It loses power waiting to be bought. That's why at Interstate, we're constantly checking our batteries to make sure they're fresh, so that you don't end up with a bad apple.
We asked some of the hottest guys in town to trade their deodorant for Degree deodorant.
I'll give it a shot.
As your body heat rises, only Degree releases extra protection against odor.
It does work. Better than many trades I've made.
Degree deodorant for a higher degree of protection.
There are two important questions to ask when choosing a pain reliever. Does it work fast, and how long will the relief last? For minor arthritis, Advil works directly at the site of pain. It's fast, and Advil provides hour after hour of pain relief. In fact, nothing's been proven to last longer than Advil. Next time you have sore muscles, a backache, or minor arthritis pain, remember, nothing's been proven to last longer than Advil. Advanced medicine for pain.
I deliver babies, sometimes 10,000 a day. Bald babies, fuzzy babies. You know, when people send their film to be developed, they're like expected parents. They're waiting for their moments, their Kodak moments. And you know, if you think about it, a roll of film is like a bundle of joy. That's why we use the Kodak Color Watch system. Because with Kodak support and our color standard, especially the paper, we can turn out the color prints that people hope for. I mean, it's a great place. We don't just develop pictures. We deliver memories.
A couple of the Baylor fans who made the 3.5-hour drive from Waco to come to the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. This guy, native to the great state of Washington. 4 wideouts here for the Cougars. Second down and 11 from the 33. Davis can't find anybody. He goes down. Charles Horton, 94. Scotty Lewis, 80. And some help from Gary Bandy. That's a loss of 5 yards.
Thing about Lewis, he led the team with tackles behind the line of scrimmage with 12. Number one, it just doesn't happen for him. This is a coverage sack. That secondary has done a splendid job of just being in the right place. And I'll tell you, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, what did you think of Davis to this point? Because you read something as he came to the sideline.
He is frustrated. He cannot believe that Baylor's intensity, it's almost like this is a different club that he witnessed on film. That can happen to you.
3rd and long. They may get it off before the clock expires. They do. Inside flanker screen. Cut it across the field. Not a lot doing. Just a lot of rugged hitting by Baylor.
That was a train wreck.
Dumas.
That was a train wreck.
Went right into the teeth of the defense and paid a mighty price. He didn't pick up a yard. 15 minutes complete. Washington State leads it 7-0.
Everything's lighting on this play, folks. Looks like they're going for 2. The quarterback drops back and rolls right. He spots a receiver cutting across the end zone. He drills it. Oh, he gets saved. Did he hang on to it? The fans hold their breath. Yes, they got it. They got the 2. And the fans go wild.
Here's a great gift idea for Christmas. The new Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. You may actually get some things done around the house. Now with the detachable VersaPack battery from Black & Decker.
Wrangler jeans have always been worn by cowboys. But nowadays, even horses wear them. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Wrangler, the perfect jean for your 10-year-old son. And your 10-year-old husband. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Hello?
Chuck, it's a go. When can you leave?
I can leave right away.
Today, you have less and less time to be in more and more places. It's why we offer more flights a day than any other airline. And though we carry over 500,000 business travelers a week, we remain committed to serving each and every one at a time.
Use a workmate on your next job. And you'll never want to work without it. Get the workmate, only from Black & Decker.
The all-new Mercury Mystique drives like no other car in its class. With 4-wheel independent suspension, A 16-valve Z-Tech engine that delivers the best highway fuel economy in its class, as well as 14 other features not found on any other car in its class. As for the rest, class dismissed. Drive the all-new Mystique. It's a whole new Mercury.
Happy New Year, everybody. We're here for the second quarter of the Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Dave Sims and Rick Doc Walker with you. And, Doc, what do you take out of that first 15 minutes of football?
I think it was a surprise eye-opener for Chad Davis and the Cougars offensively. Now, we looked at some things that we thought were necessary for Baylor. Minus 2.3 yards on first down, but yet they're in this football game. That block, that roughing on the punt is the only thing that separates us from being dead even.
George Martin to punt to Ben Bronson. Pressure. And a returnable punt at the 40 is Bronson. To the corner, and then closed in at the 44-yard line. A punt of 32 yards, a 4-yard return. Shane Doyle, number 46, with the stop for the Cougars. Chad Davis talking to his right tackle, that's Clay Reese. And Chad Davis, Doc, you think that right now he's pretty stunned as to what has happened to this point, even though his numbers are pretty good.
Yeah, his numbers are good, but some of his mechanics have not been great. I've seen him smoother before. See, they didn't look this fast to him on film. I think he's surprised by the tempo. He'll adjust to it.
Straight eye formation. A fullback breaks it big into the secondary, into Washington State territory. An 8-yard pickup by Bradford Lewis. John Rushing has to come up to make the stop from his free safety spot.
Now, see, this is the key to it. You watch up front. These big guys, they got a double team inside on each. You got to double them to tag block. You get an explosive runner in the triple I. That is smash mouth football. And if they can do this on first down, if they can get this rhythm going, they're going to be tough to deal with.
Second down and 2. Watson, the fullback, hit in the hole there by Fields, but it's going to be close to first down yardage. Good surge by Lewis, as well as Mark Fields, who came up to make that play.
This guy is so good. He is so good, it's scary. And his best football is ahead of him.
Well, the thing I like about what Mark Fields has done, he's turned his life around because he is an admitted reformed party man, and here he is.
Oh, he was an animal. And now watch him here. This guy is just like a barilla. I mean, that's what we call a barilla. He just comes in and sticks you in the hole. He gives up no ground. He gets good hip thrust and stops you.
Got the first down. Did Bradford Lewis. Mighty collision. Fields went through a stretch where he didn't get it. He got into Washington and Washington State, and then had to leave. He flunked out. Went to junior college, flunked out. Came back to Washington State, had to leave. Went to junior college, had problems. They finally got him in. Coaches had to escort him to every class. He's turned it around. He's got about a 2.5 average now.
Went to summer school, hit the 3.0 in that particular quarter, got it done.
Ball at the 45-yard line. Bring the blitz. Watson throwing under pressure. Down he goes. Back in Baylor territory, a loss of 6 yards. Mark Fields is there with Chad Eaton, number 90.
This is a situation that you don't want to be in as a young quarterback. You watch 29. He's playing games with the quarterback now. Now he decides to come. That's just poor blocking Dunbar. Hey, Marty, give the young quarterback some help. And then when the read is not there initially, he's got to get rid of the football. They're a good look at Mark Fields, a young man that I think is going to have a bright future, not only on the field, but off the field as well. Marty Dunbar is a senior, and, I mean, they need help. Will Davis and all these guys, Jerome Jackson, David Davies, these guys have got to give the young quarterback some time.
Cougars show blitz again. Fullback, they run Lewis. Boy, he's pounded on by Ron Childs, number 31, to finish that play off. Get it back to about the 48-yard line of Washington State. Ron Childs said something interesting the other day, too, when we got here to San Antonio. And he was fabulous with the media. Articulate young man from Kennewick, Washington. Leader by example, and he said, we're really disappointed about not going to the Rose Bowl. They had a tough loss to SC. But then you came back with a very interesting story about what happened in your career at UCLA.
Well, it happened to us as well. Went to the Rose Bowl as a junior, as a senior. We lost to Southern Cal, and we went to the Liberty Bowl, and we were pouting, a little disappointed, and Alabama handed it to us. You get into a bowl game, you better be glad you're one of the few chosen that can do it.
Watson looking to throw, got time, got a man wide open down the field, and he overthrows Stanley, and there's a penalty flag. Torrey Hunter covering. Stanley abused him in the secondary, running an out and up.
You're going to see a lot more of this on both sides of the line. You've got Rushing and Mobley. These guys aggressive safeties. And on the opposite side as well, we talked about Lewis and Robinson. Play action. These guys are going to have a tough task to stay at home and read the offensive play.
Not a surprise. Hunter was faked out badly. Stanley did shake free, but the ball was overthrown.
You like John, too, to come out of his break.
Holding on the defense. Automatic first down.
So mark that play down. A hold against Hunter with 12-12 to go.
You'd like your receiver to come out and find the football if possible, because if he can locate that, catch it, and score, you got a guaranteed touchdown. This is not guaranteed. This is just a little bit of field position.
This drive began back at the Baylor 44. Jeff Watson and the Baylor Bears come out in a straight I formation. Run the option back the other way. Douglas, check that. Khalid Muhammad. He gets it down to about the 36-yard line. Pickup of 3.
Some nifty running.
Dwayne Sanders, number 92, involved on the tackle.
Now, he's their all-purpose guy. You mentioned, you talked about Johnny Rogers. Johnny Rogers a little before my time. I think more like Eric Metcalf, but oh yeah. Now see if the Cougars could just work this out with Bradford Lewis, they'd have it made.
A lot of neighborhoods you could walk through with that little fella, right?
I wouldn't want to do it.
Second down at 7. Douglas going nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Ronnie Child was like he knew that play was called for him. A loss of 5.
Yeah, let's note one thing. They've had 3 bad plays so far offensively. They've had the reverse. They've had this play, and we'll watch again. This is not the defensive unit that you mess around with in the backfield. The triple I formation, lead dive with the fullback, has been very successful. You need quick action. You need to hit it quick. You cannot mess around against the Cougars. You've got fifth-year seniors. You've got 9 guys that have been here for at least 4 years, 7 of which were either first or second team all Pac-10.
Piggyback that point. Jack Crow said every 4th play he wants to do something wide open, even though he may take some hits. Run the draw. Douglas looking, finding room. Into the secondary. Big play. First down, Baylor. Inside the 30. Picks up 14.
Well, Coach Crow told us that we would get a chance to see a lot of this young man because he has some skills that you just couldn't coach. See, he could be tackled here. An average back goes down there. He goes down there. And this young man is still moving upfield. Now, he needs some help downfield. You got to get your guys. Domo was trying to chip in it. You have to be able to block on the second level, receivers and tight ends downfield in order to break big plays.
Ronnie Childs grabbed a lot of air because of Douglas's speed. Watson going to throw. Stanley is man he's looking for. Could have been picked off. Hunter was there, should have had it. Went up with one hand, and he's complaining, saying he was interfered with, but he should have made the pick. He is a vociferous, excitable young man that Mike Price said is a good kid, never been in trouble. 9 pass breakups, led the team coming into tonight's game, the sociology major out of Curtis High School in Tacoma.
Here's what's tough about this, Dave. You got a single receiver pattern. You got one guy going out. You have 3 other guys in his area. There's 1 white shirt. There's 3 red shirts, and that's just a bad scheme. You need a safety valve on that so he can look downfield, see a guy covered, and drop it off.
From the 27. Second down, the blitz, they pick it up. Watson slant way too high. Ben Bronson is intended receiver. Watson not close on that one. Hunter with the coverage for the Cougars. And Mike Price says, I think we may have dodged one on that.
Yeah, he's a little disappointed. It's unfortunate because Douglas on the opposite side was wide open. There's Fields again. See, he's playing games with the quarterback. He wants to disrupt him. Then you get a pretty good cut block on him. I'd like to see athletes stay up, keep their feet, because great athletes will jump those cuts. The next time that won't work, and you'll get your quarterback hit.
Watson struggling, 2 for 6, 12 yards. He came in as a 51% passer. Douglas in motion. Watson going to throw backside pressure. That's where they run the screen right behind to the tight end. A but they don't pick up the first down. They throw it to Damon Rhines, who has soft hands. They say, we got to find ways to get him the ball. They pick up 5 yards, but it's not enough for the first.
Great scheme. But Ron Childs just beat 2 men. And again, when you look at this, and I know for Jack Crow, the offensive coordinator, you get frustrated because you look at things, you say, I think this play has a chance. You get a good number count, but you get guys out front that don't execute.
Jarvis Van Dyke lining this one up from Brenham, Texas. The holder is Dustin Denard. A 39-yard field goal attempt from this distance. He's 2 for 5 on the season. John Patterson is the snapper. And they tried to draw him offside. There is a penalty from the back judge. And time ran out.
Delay of the game on the offense. Repeat 4th down.
That's a killer.
Yeah, that's the second biggest penalty that has gone against them. Again, you got a lot of young people, and you might be sitting at home thinking, how in the world could that happen? Very easy. Very easy. You just need to do things in football. Repetition is the key. And by the time you're a senior, you've done things 1,000 times. You know, in practice, you've had drills, and it's tough. It's tough for young people.
44-yard field goal, and from this range, Jarvis Van Dyke is 3 for 4. Coming right at you. Just fell short.
Penalty killed it.
Sure did. So 2 big penalties have really affected Baylor's cause, but they're still in the game, trailing only 7-0.
This is Red Dog beer. It's not ice brewed, fire brewed, and it's not some nursing sipping red. It's just genuinely good beer. Okay, there is one thing unusual about Red Dog. It's unusually easy to drink. Because it's bold yet smooth. Because it's made with the finest natural ingredients. Are you gonna like Red Dog? Yeah, we think so. But hey, it's your call.
The deal of the year on Ford Taurus is now even better because your lease payment is now even lower. Just $237 a month for 24 months on Taurus sedan or wagon. Or you can choose low 2.9% financing or $750 cash back. Don't wait to take advantage of these 3 great offers on Taurus sedan and wagon, because the deal that makes the best-selling car in America an even greater value ends January 4th. Ford Taurus.
New York's Patrick Ewing. Phoenix's Dan Marley. Sylvania's long-lasting compact fluorescent bulb. Practice night after night, week after week, year after year, and eventually you might replace one of them. Sylvania. Brilliant light.
The Builder Square Alamo Bowl is presented by Builder Square. We'll get you squared away. And in part by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
7-0 Washington State here in the 2nd annual Builder Square Alamo Bowl. And a mistake, another one, has cost Baylor, and Chuck Reedy is irate with good reason. The delay of game penalty cost them a 3 spot.
Yeah, it really did. And what you want on that is the TO. I mean, they're useless at halftime. Take one. Secure your position. They come up, and wouldn't you know it, the kick is straight, but just a few yards short.
39 went to a 44-yard attempt. No backs, 5 receivers for Chad Davis in Washington State. Kennedy in motion. He had a big 33-yarder in the first drive. Davis over the middle, and that's a completion up to the 40-yard line. That's a pickup of 12 yards by Kearney Adams. Let's get to the sidelines and Dan Debenham.
Thank you very much. I'm with a couple of very special guests here at the Alamo Bowl. Frank G. Felicella and his wife. This is Maggie. You guys, you are the president and CEO of Builders Square, and this has been 2 years in the making now. A lot of hard work. Has it paid off, and why did you get involved in the first place?
Well, it's paying off every day in San Antonio. Number one, San Antonio is one of the United States' best-kept secrets. Number two, Builders Square's home is in San Antonio, and we associate ourselves with things for children in the community. And this family event for New Year's Eve is perfect because it sponsors children, deals with college football, and really helps the community in general.
You know, I'd like your reaction to this. Throughout the week, the press has really praised how your committee here and the people in San Antonio have treated both of these ball clubs. They have really enjoyed themselves. Is that reflective of San Antonio as a whole?
It certainly is. It's reflective of the Southwest and San Antonio in particular, that our hospitality is very well known. If you come to San Antonio, believe me, you'll find a place that's very receptive and welcome to you.
Frank G. Felicella and his wife, Maggie, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for having this Builders Square Alamo Bowl.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back upstairs.
All right, Dan, thank you. Here's Davis. Looks off one receiver. Dumple pumps and gets it back to Carpenter. Picks up maybe 2 on that play.
I'll say
Glenn Coy, 58 with the stop.
Coy's been active, but boy, how about these restaurants we were at? I mean, the hospitality, unbelievable. And there's some people here. I mean, I'm so full at this point, I'm about to bust. You know, for me for a couple of days.
Keeping that season-long tradition going, eh, Doc?
Well, you know, it's the holidays. It's the festive time of the year.
Penalty flag. And Washington State is walking backwards.
Yeah, I notice how you always try to talk about how much I eat.
Holding on the offense, 10-yard penalty, spot of the foul, repeat second down.
So they don't pick up any yards on that play as Davis is trying to bail himself out, and then they get a holding penalty.
Yeah, it hurts him. We were talking about this young man not being real fluid so far. He's been caught up a little bit, and I do think that at halftime they're going to have some adjustments to make. They've already made it. They got out and went into a spread offense.
Enough is the man in motion. 2nd and 15, Davis. All day. Finds a receiver, Kennedy. Kennedy to the 43-yard line. Albert Kennedy is a tall receiver at 6'3", 198, a senior out of San Jose, California. Tyrone Smith knocks him down.
Yeah, he's a big play guy. They really like him. I mean, you watch, that's a great move to create separation. Now he kind of pushes off. You'd like to see him come back to the football, as he does. Makes the catch with the hands. That's picture perfect.
That Michael Irvin, Herman Moore ilk.
Yeah, you like
tall,
that.
rangy receiver. Alley-oop him to death over the smaller cornerback. Smith goes 5'10", and Kendrick Bell goes 5'9". 3rd down and 5 for the Cougars. Davis, quick drop, sideline ball. Kennedy's there. Can he pick up the first? He does, and boy, he paid a price, though, as number 7, Adrian Robinson, tried to split him in 2. A gain of 7 on the play.
Very nice. Number one, all the good football players are very conscious of where they are. They have an idea of where the yard markers are. And again, it looks like Davis now has started to settle in. They made the adjustment in the offense. And you watch this now. Lower the shoulders, and he picks up the necessary yardage before he takes a hit.
He's got into a groove now. He knows what to expect. He has a better feel for Baylor.
Yeah, he has settled down. They also went to the 4 wide receivers. And that really helped. Look at this. Yeah.
1st down right now. They're getting it done. Ball just in Baylor territory at the 49. Sparks delivers a blow down to the 46-yard line. Derek Sparks picks up 3. Bell and Tubbs. Tubbs 99 with the tackle. Derek Sparks running pretty well. He's nursing a shoulder injury suffered last year, and number 2 rusher on the club, close to 3 yards per pop, and a guy that's going to get you a 1st down when you need it.
Well, they've got 3 or 4 quality backs. The thing about it with Baylor, you know, they have yet to lose a lot of tight games. They've had a propensity to really play well when things are close in, but if not, if they get out of hand, they've had trouble.
They've had a few all-or-nothing kind of games. And all kind of movements. First, it was Scotty Lewis, but then the left guard moved. That was Ron Lewis. Ron Lewis. They moved him over. He had been at the right guard spot, but they put him at left guard because he's a good trap blocker. Yeah. But that time he got himself in a trap.
Repeat second down.
Reed, a 400-pound bencher, Ron Lewis, they're very pleased with these young men, and they're seniors, and it was so special when you can go out with a victory as a senior. This is something that will start to really glare itself a little later on, especially if the Cougars aren't able to put points on the board.
Mike Price said his clubs really come together after their Oregon State loss.
Yeah, they were down. The SC loss really hurt them, and that just icing on the cake.
Blitz, Davis, down he goes. Look, Curtis Jones. His 2nd sack of the season. And Baylor comes up big this time. A timely 11-yard loss for the Baylor Bears.
This young man is so explosive. He gives you quickness, and he also, when he gets a hold of you, he doesn't let down. I mean, he just doesn't get going. This is a quick blitz right up the gut. Again, that's just poor technique up front by Lewis. You got to move your feet. If you're going to block as an offensive lineman, you have to be able to move your feet.
Curtis Jones, junior out of Waco, Texas. They run Sparks up the middle. Picks up a nice chunk, but it will not be enough for a first down. It'll be a punting situation. Tubbs and Scotty Lewis with the tackle for Baylor. Well, Baylor holding its own, Doc.
Yeah, they really are. And it's so difficult when you're a young football team and you get a bad penalty, and then you come back and you get one and you lose possibly 3 points, and you are demoralized, and you have to keep telling yourself that you can be successful. And those coaches over on the sideline are working overtime just to instill a positive attitude on this club. Well, see if we can get a hold of Dan in a moment if he's on the side of the Baylor Bears. Really find out what Bob Cope is saying to these young people as they come to the sideline. He is usually upstairs, but for this game, he is on the field.
Penalty flag. Boomer by George Martin. Bronson chased back to his 12-yard line. The hole closes up as he gets to the 21-yard line, but a penalty flag back upfield. Looks like the left end may have moved a little bit too early. Illegal motion against the Cougars of Washington State.
I'll be honest with you. I think Washington State at this point, they underestimated Baylor. I mean, I think they felt like they were a better football team and they would just show up and good things would happen. And Baylor has surprised them as a whole. Now, you can't tell by the statistics, but the score is a pretty good indicator.
Illegal motion on the offense. 5-yard penalty, previous spot, repeat 4th down.
8 penalties, 54 yards against the Washington State Cougars. And right now, a couple plays looming rather large. On a 4th and 6 from the 19, first time Washington State had the ball, matter of fact, opening drive. Roughing the kicker penalty kept that drive alive. It resulted in a 33-yard completion to Kennedy, set up a 1-yard touchdown, 7-0. That's our score to this point.
And we knew coming into this football game, that Baylor could not afford to make a lot of mistakes. So far, they made a couple, and they got this one. He got this
ball picked up. Baylor takes over at the 29-yard line. Special teams and defense has done it all year for the Baylor Bears. They come up big again.
They scored 52 points.
3:31 to go in the first half. Mike Price upset. His team's still ahead by 7.
Looking for a paint store that covers everything? Get hip to the Square.
Builder Square is your prime source for paint, starting with Glidden and Dutch Boy brands, with free computer color matching to any shade, plus specialty brands, stains, and every painting accessory imaginable. There's even advice to make things go smoothly, all at great square deal prices. Builder Square.
We'll get you squared away.
You blade all day, you gotta have music. Great music. That's what keeps us rolling. We used to blow through a lot of batteries and a lot of bucks until we got Rayovac Renewal. Alkaline batteries you can reuse and reuse and reuse.
Like 25 times.
But not like old-fashioned rechargeables. Renewals are alkaline. So the charges last longer. And the money we save, we blow on music. Rayovac Renewal. Reusable alkaline batteries. Smart move.
How Ford reinvented the minivan in 3 words. First, we widened it, giving you the widest stance for secure handling. Next, we made it big on safety with standard dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. Then we added the most room of all leading minivans for all your cargo and up to 7 passengers. And by sweeping away the old ideas, Ford created Windstar, a minivan like no other. The future belongs to the new Windstar.
Washington State all week had said that they didn't want Baylor to get big plays on special teams. And here's Michael Benjamin with a big one right here.
Yeah, you watch Michael Benjamin here. He comes up and he comes around. He'll get to that contact point and really create a situation where the punter's got to pull the ball down. You see there. And the rest of those white shirts are there. You know, this group scored over 50 points on defense and on special teams throughout the year. That was a great opportunity. If they just hold on to the bounce, the band would have been playing.
Oh, yeah. Recovery by Khalif Muhammad. And some distressed looks now. The faces of the Washington State players. Not a lot doing to start this drive. First possession in Washington, started in Washington State territory by the Baylor Bears.
And the one thing, Dave, that we've noticed is that Baylor has had some pretty good success with the lead dive, especially in the triple I. But then they'll get away from success and try to create other plays. I think they're going to have to just bear down, and Coach Crow is going to have to stick with what's working.
All right, and here, as we had been alerted to by Jack Crow, Lamont Moore getting a chance to play at quarterback this late now, second quarter. Washington State leads at 7-0. Better option runner, but not that time. Ron Childs with the stop.
Yeah, we thought we would see him about the second or third series, and that's exactly what happened. And it's quite an exciting point for a young man to come off the sidelines and get into the flow of a football game, but I like it because the backup quarterback's always just one bad play from coming in. He only kind of rides the fullback, but just nothing happens. Boy, that child. Good football player.
Lamont Moore, sophomore from Waxahachie, Texas, looking at a 3rd down and 11. He's got Lewis and Douglas in the I formation. Blitz coming by Washington State. Here comes the Palouse posse. Throwing downfield just out of the reach of Ben Bronson. Wow. Bronson was there. The coverage by Brian Walker, and he was beaten on that play.
That was so close. And what happens is you know that you are going to get everybody, the kitchen sink. Coach Dova's defense, they are coming at you. Great pickup on the line of scrimmage. He had an ample time to throw. The ball looks like it's there. I mean, that's just a tad alligator arm. I mean, the arms just don't extend. You got to leave your feet, man. You're trying to win a football game. Leave your feet and extend and catch the football.
47-yard field goal attempt. One from 44, 2 yards short last time. Here's the boot, almost blocked. Is it enough leg? No, sir. So not enough power by Van Dyke. And that ball may have been tipped. Reedy and company can't get on the board.
Please direct your attention to the coin toss.
Don't make $1 million, but I make up for it in style. I don't make reservations, I just flash my Texas smile. I make the most of life so naturally. I make mine hugging Mitsubishi. Make mine hugging Mitsubishi.
Showtime invites you to catch all the excitement. Uncut and commercial-free. Discover something new. Share the fun. Laugh out loud. Experience the thrill. Get more of what you want to see. Only on Showtime.
In the end, it all comes down to one great play. That single decisive moment when the incredible becomes reality. Now it's time to choose the best of the greatest. The ESPY Award, given in recognition of exceptional performance. Tune into SportsCenter or hook up with ESPN Net on Prodigy to cast your vote for the outstanding plays and performances of 1994. The ESPY Awards. Presented by General Motors. This time, you make the call.
Cougars lead the Baylor Bears 7-0 here. Final 157 of the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Coming up with Mike Tirico, the Microsoft halftime report. I have playoff highlights from the NFL Wild Card Day, day one of this Wild Card weekend, and countdown to the Orange and Rose Bowls coming up here. The Microsoft halftime report. Chad Davis, quarterback for Washington State, 12 for 15 passing. 121 yards. He's had stretches of 6 completions in a row. Looking for more. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Completion to number 4, Bryant Thomas. A pickup of 15 12th catch of the season for Thomas, who is out of Carson, California.
Well, that's my point about receivers that will go out and get the football. Excellent pass protection. Here Chad shuffles his feet, he throws it out, and you watch this. Creates a cup with the hands and go out and get the football. This young man's a freshman.
Yes,
you know, we're talking about the fact that, you know, Bronson's a senior. I mean, you don't get another chance after tonight.
From the 44, Davis, quick screen underneath to Knuff. Knuff lays a lick on Curtis Jones. Loose ball, but they're going to say he was down. A pickup of 5. David Knuff. David Knuff, 6'3", 218. Check that, that's Moore. My mistake, Eric Moore, beg your pardon. Good target.
Well, you know, the thing about Moore is that we know he can run with the football when he catches it, too. These tight ends are not ordinary tight ends. They understand that in Washington State's offense, you get a chance to catch the ball.
Ball's at the 49-yard line. Davis going to keep it in the air. Deep out, got a man. Carpenter, out of bounds, first down for the Cougars, 13-yard gain. So a pretty effective-looking 2-minute drill by Chad Davis. George McCullough on the coverage. In fact, he fell down. He was way off the receiver, Carpenter.
Chad is much more comfortable in this 4 wide receiver set. You notice he's come out and not really messed around, but got back, hit the launch pad, and released the football. 3 points at this stage of the game would be like 25 points against Baylor.
Stay with us at halftime. Mike Tirico with the Microsoft halftime report. Davis has completed his last 9 passes from the 38. Try to get it up the middle, and a nice little run there by Kevin Hicks. Gets inside the 35 to the 33. Ryan Tanner.
Tanner, great effort, though.
Makes the stop.
Great effort up front. When you can get your nose tackled, down linemen to get arm tackles and hit knockbacks down, that's a super effort. He doesn't get a hold of him, it would have been lights out.
Mike Price and the Cougars call timeout. They have 1 left. And coming up tomorrow, NFL game day at noontime. Chris Berman, Joe Theismann, Tom Jackson preview the wild card second day games. And then, of course, we'll wrap up everything NFL primetime. Chris Berman and the crew. It's all coming up tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time here on ESPN.
Well, you like Kansas City today, they lost. You like Detroit today, and they lost. Tell you what.
Yeah, and your record's 198-2 this year, too, right?
Oh, boy.
How do you figure Barry Sanders gets totally shut out?
Well, you got to know a little bit more. Well, you know, Fritz Sherman, let's face it. When you play in Lambeau Field, I don't know, the feeling, it's got to be overwhelming to come out and represent the Packers.
Alamo Bowl, Builder Square Alamo Bowl, 2nd annual edition. We were here last year. California really put a lick on Iowa. 37-3, and as we watch Washington State, their kicker, get warmed up here, what did we look for? Tony Truant warming up. What do we look for here?
Well, they've been real well when they had a long distance, rather, to throw the deep outs. They got maybe 2 or 3 more of those, and look for a draw, maybe a screen. They'll start working to the out of bounds.
2nd down and 6. Ball at the 35-yard line. Davis with time over the middle, almost knocked down, almost completed. Robert Mason, a linebacker, had it first, and then it went into the hands and out of the hands of Jay Dumas.
Well, Adrian Robinson, he broke on the football as if he was Deion Sanders, and he thought he had a good range on it. Once again, Chad is telegraphing all his passes. I mean, sooner or later, somebody in the secondary has got to take a shot and break on the football because he is announcing this deal.
And yet he's completing a high percentage, 15 for 19, 154 yards.
Well, he's not throwing against a real tough man-to-man scheme either. He's throwing into some zone. He's got 4 wide receivers.
He'll throw again. Flushed out. Throws it to the sideline. Receiver came back. Was he inbounds? He was. They give it to him. At the 25-yard line, a fine play by Jay Dumas to pick up 9 more yards.
Well, that's a double milkshake performance on this one by Davis and Dumas, because there are quarterbacks that take sacks in this situation. Once again, telegraphing the throw, he slides a little left, but at this point he could go down. He decides to not only get it away, but make it work. And this is just heads up. You stretch, you make the grab, it's close, give him an E for effort.
Tony Truant's long field goal, keep this in mind, 45 yards. Hicks in motion, Davis to throw. Got a man in the corner and throws it out of bounds. He had nothing short, And a penalty flag, 2 of them, probably bring this back for holding. And indeed, that is the call.
Clay Reese had his head up in the air. He had that offensive lineman look like, why me?
Clay Reese, number 70, 6'8", 286, the senior out of Cupertino, California.
He's a stud. He really is. He's a good football player. You wouldn't mess with his brother either, would you?
No, not at all. Justin Still gives it.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. Spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
So they take the penalty. So first and a very long for Mike Price's crew.
You're talking about Reese and his brother, boy. His brother's 7-footer, 350 pounds, a vanilla gorilla. He's a wrestler. You watch Reese, he's grabbing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's doing it not against a weak pass rusher. That wasn't a great effort, rushing the passer. You're going to hold the guy once he's about to try to kill your quarterback.
Ball back to the 41. Davis, home run ball, sideline, and there, Carpenter out of bounds. He made the catch at the 3-yard line, but he was out of bounds. He beat the double coverage.
That young man, he showed me something at the end of that play. That's the way I measure receivers. Guys who go out and almost get the impossible ball. They get faster. I don't care what they time out in the 40-yard dash. And that ball is in the air. There's something about them. They know how to adjust to the ball and go out and get it. Hey, this is close. That's close. Great effort.
Outstanding. So with 22 seconds to go here in the first half, Cougars leading 7-0 over the Baylor Bears. Second down and very long from the 41. Davis underneath. It's his tight end Moore. He gets it down to about the 33-yard line. Curtis Jones with the stop. And Washington State uses its final timeout with 11 seconds to go.
You know what's so impressive about Baylor at this point? When they get close to making the tackle, they make the tackle. You know, we watched a lot of poor tackling this year.
We'll be back for the final 11 seconds after this timeout from San Antonio.
Corbel, for people who know champagne.
From the city by the bay to the city of light, every day we connect over 200 places with over 5,000 flights. And though we continue to grow with new aircraft and new destinations, though we fly over 160,000 people a day, we remain committed to serving each and every one at a time.
Washington State leading 7-0, looking for more in the final 11 seconds of the first half here at the Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Baylor's got 2 times out remaining. Washington State has completed its 3. And don't forget Microsoft halftime report. Mike Tirico coming up in a few seconds.
Washington State just can't take control of this thing.
3rd and 18, Davis looking sideline, got a man, but an incompletion. Wow, they said he caught it. Kennedy, and they're going to give him the completion at about the 21-yard line.
They made a living tight-roping on the sideline.
Now here's Tony Truant. 37-yard attempt. He's 4 for 7 from this range. 8 for 16 on the season. Tony Truant, left footer, is good. Now with 2 seconds remaining, the Cougars have a 10-0 lead. And as you mentioned a few seconds ago, that might as well be a touchdown the way this game has been going, just the way the flow has been going, given that Baylor's had 2 makeable field goals and haven't cashed in yet.
They've been in a position. Also, on the block punt, they had a chance to pick it up, and they couldn't do it. Carpenter, great effort. Kennedy, these receivers did a splendid job of working the sidelines. And Davis, when you look back at it, when you judge wide receivers, you judge them not for making the ordinary catch or quarterbacks the ordinary throw. You watch this. I mean, this ball gets out. He doesn't have a lot of room with it. He puts it right on the numbers. You watch the feet, the hands, everything's there. I mean, and the ball, he didn't have possession, but he got credit for it. So if you get credit for it, it works.
Bill Mazeroski was a master at that, the 4-6-3 double play. The ball looked like it barely touched his hands as he whipped it through.
He's happy. He knows how I bobbled it, but, you know, we got credit for it. Did my mom see it? That's all he's thinking about.
4 catches, 63 yards.
You know, it's good. You watch Bob Cope now. He's usually upstairs, but he's there and he's rallying these guys. And we'll have to talk to Dan Dibbenhand. He's on the field. And I know Dan's right now is behind the Washington State group. And we'll want to know what the attitude is on the sidelines. I mean, Dan played a lot of ball. He knows, man, if you start to get down on yourself, you don't have a chance to win. I don't care what the score is.
Squibbit here to kick it up high. Only got 2 seconds. Squibbit here.
Well, I think you pound it.
And they pound it. And how about this? It goes out of bounds. So Baylor
flag,
going to get the ball at the 35-yard line. Go figure.
Oh, we got a flag. If at this point, again, I'm Coach Price at halftime, I'm reading the riot act. I'm a lunatic because his club, they're not focused. And they're winning, and they're doing some good things.
Keep women, children, and microphones out of that locker room.
Keep away from my locker room. Too many penalties for a club with this kind of experience. You know, they got seniors. Now you're looking at this point where...
And we're seconds away from Mike Tirico on the Microsoft halftime report. NFL playoff highlights and countdown to a couple of big games, the Orange Bowl and the Rose Bowl.
Illegal foul on the kicking team, illegal procedure, kicking the ball out of bounds, offside on the kicking team. The ball will be re-kicked.
That's a double knucklehead move.
Mike may look kind of calm right now, but inside, internal combustion.
He's boiling. And he's boiling because he knows they're capable of doing so much better. I mean, at one point, you can look at Baylor and you can pat him on the back if you like, but I think they've squandered some opportunities to be in this ball club, this ball game, rather. So when Chuck Reedy gets his group in again, I think that now you know you can play with them. Now you got to go out and just play football. Play smart.
Chuck Reedy, 45 years old, outside linebacker at Appalachian State. Graduated back in 1971, 12 years as an assistant coach at Clemson working for Danny Ford.
Ford, that's an intense guy.
Won a national championship. And he was 3 years as offensive coordinator at Baylor, 90, 91, and 92 before being named head coach for the 93 campaign. Truant. See where he kicks it this time. Going to squib it. And a fair catch.
What's that all about?
Time ran out.
Toss that ball to somebody that can run.
So 30 minutes complete at the second annual Builders Square Alamo Bowl. Washington State with a 10-0 lead. Let's send it to Mike Tirico in the Microsoft halftime report.
All right, David, thank you. We're at Cocoa Walk in South Florida, where New Year's Eve is in the air, and the excitement of an NFL playoff game. We'll have the highlights of the Miami Dolphins-Kansas City Chiefs game. We'll also look at the Green Bay Packers game. Brett Favre didn't have Sterling Sharp, so we had to count on a guy out of the backfield to catch some passes. And we're going to talk about the running backs as we get closer to the Orange Bowl, Miami and Nebraska. That and also a report from Pasadena as we continue at halftime of the Alamo Bowl.
Think all you can get at the home improvement store is hammers and nails? Get hip to the Square.
At Builder Square, you'll get great ideas. In fact, everything's built around the Idea Center, where designers and computers will help you visualize any project, from decorating to a complete redo. Builder Square has all the tools, materials, and know-how you'll ever need at great square deal prices. Builder Square.
We'll get you squared away.
The 3M Filtrete microparticle air filter outperforms all other 1-inch filters by getting more of the small stuff that's in your air out, like more dust particles. It also traps pollen and mold, particles that could irritate your allergies. It even gets animal dander. Try the Filtrete microparticle air filter. It gets more of the small aggravating things in your air out, even smoke.
Look for 3M filters.
Available at all Builders Square locations.
Stuff. We all want stuff. And when we buy a new car, we want all the stuff. Dual airbags, power steering, power mirrors, air conditioning, a stereo, automatic transmission, a place to put a cup of coffee, convenience stuff. What's really great is that you can get all this stuff on any of these Escorts for the same low price. That's called value. Escort is a great value. Compared stuff to stuff to its leading competition, Escort costs less, period. Ford Escort. Good stuff, great price.
Halftime report is presented by Microsoft.
Some of the revelry in South Florida as we get a little closer to 1995 and New Year's Eve, South Florida style. Mike Tirico at Cocoa Walk. We're just 15 minutes away from the Orange Bowl. Craig James and Lee Corso will join me in a moment, and we'll talk about the Orange Bowl and Elephant Gate in a little bit. But first, the NFL news today. 2 playoff games. Miami is title town for football this month. Orange Bowl tomorrow. And 4 weeks from tomorrow, it's the Super Bowl at Joe Robbie Stadium. Today at JRS, Marino against Montana, Chiefs and Dolphins in the playoffs. Joe against Dan. Each scored on their first 3 drives in the first half. It's 7-7 in the first. Montana to Kimball Anders. Eludes the Miami defense. Takes a hit from Brian Cox, but Cox didn't wrap him up. Anders down the sideline. 57-yard score. We're all tied at 17-17 at the break. It was a terrific game. Then Marino to work. Picks up the blitz, finds Irving Fryer from 8 yards out. Dolphins lead 27-17 in the fourth. First and goal, Montana. First turnover of the game. Key INT by J.B. Brown. Then the next drive, Marcus Allen fighting for extra yards. In Dolphin territory, stripped by Michael Stewart. Controversial call, but they say it was a fumble. The Dolphins recover, run out the clock, and was that Joe's last game? He said after the game, we'll talk about that a little bit later down the road. Miami wins. They play at San Diego next Sunday. Tomorrow's New England-Cleveland winner will play at Pittsburgh 1 week from today. NFC wildcard game at Lambeau Field without Sterling Sharp. The Packers taking on the Lions. Brett Favre and company. Great first drive. 4th down, 14th play. Dorsey Levens, the rookie from Georgia Tech, scores. 7-0 Pack after 1. Lions took Barry Sanders out of the game, folks. -1 yard rushing on 13 carries, a career low. The Packers, an NFL record, -4 yards allowed on the ground. They led 13-3 in the third, but Mel Gray, the Pro Bowler, breaks free. 68 yards on the kickoff return to the Packer 18. And the Lions convert to start the fourth quarter. Dave Craig to former Cane, Brett Perriman, 13-10. The Lions down 3, now down 6. 4th and 12. Craig. Last 2 minutes to Herman Moore in the back of the end zone. He's got the ball, but neither foot comes down in bounds. He was ridden out of bounds, but the officials say he couldn't have got those feet down anyway. And Reggie White and company win at Lambeau. They haven't lost a playoff game at Lambeau Field. So here's the deal. Minnesota and Chicago play tomorrow. If the Vikings win, Green Bay will play San Francisco. If the Bears win, then Green Bay will travel to Dallas next weekend. This is the second College Bowl game of the day. Earlier today on ESPN, the Liberty Bowl down in Memphis. Illinois, which has lost 7 of its last 8 bowl games, taking on East Carolina. The highlights of this one, as seen earlier on ESPN, Simeon Rice. Some people think he may be the first player taken in the NFL draft. The linebacker doing a job here, causing Jarris McPhail to cough it up. Illinois recovers. A couple of minutes later, Johnny Johnson makes him pay as he did all day. The quarterback in the scoreless game changes that as he finds Ken Dilger. From 17 yards out, Illinois, the early 7-0 lead. Second quarter down 14, Marcus Crandall trying to rally them, intercepted by Robert Crumpton. It was all East Carolina turnovers, the story for Illinois. They scored 23 points off of 5 ECU turnovers. The great day for Johnny Johnson, equaling the Liberty Bowl record 4-touchdown performance by Mark Herman of Purdue in 1980. As Illinois makes it 2-0 for the Big Ten in bowls, beating East Carolina 30-0. We're getting close to the Orange Bowl, and James and Corso are with us. When we come back, Elephant Gate. What everyone in South Florida is talking about, right? And we'll also talk about one of the key matchups in the 1994 Orange Bowl, the 95 Orange Bowl. Will the Elephants have a factor in what's done on the field? We'll talk about it at halftime. It's Washington State by 10.
A brilliant idea never starts out brilliant. It starts out ridiculed. Because it's different and people haven't seen anything like it. Be unreasonable. Insist that it can be done. Show them how. This is the software that helps you show them.
Historically, whenever you had a problem in your neighborhood, there was always someone to help you, just when you needed them most. Today, you can still rely on Thrifty. Simply use your Montgomery Ward credit card at Montgomery Ward Car Rental at all Thrifty locations. So whether you're traveling in your neighborhood or to someone else's, we're there. Your neighborhood Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates.
San Antonio, where we predict you'll have the best time every time. For a free vacation kit with valuable discounts, give us a call.
Earlier tonight, just a few miles away from here, the annual Orange Bowl Parade. Emerson Fittipaldi was the Grand Marshal of the parade. Some of the festivities that are such a great part of the Orange Bowl tradition here in South Florida. And you know, Lee Corso and Craig James, that part of the Orange Bowl tradition is the great halftime, the lengthy great halftime shows. And that really became a factor in some respects in the game today. Folks, this is an unbelievable story. Elephant Gate, the Orange Bowl held hostage by 5 pachyderms. The story is this. Miami and Nebraska had their final walkthroughs today at the Orange Bowl. Well, yesterday, the rehearsal for halftime came at the Orange Bowl. It included 2,000 performers because the theme is a circus theme, and 5 elephants on the field. Well, as if the Canes aren't tough enough to play on the Orange Bowl turf as it is, the turf, which wasn't in great shape to begin with, was messed up even a little bit more. You will see the elephants who were involved in the halftime rehearsal on Friday. It was an 18-hour rehearsal. They beat up on the turf. That meant a lot of work had to be done on the turf today. It wasn't just the elephants. It was the 2,000 members of the cast and the tractors. It had Tom Osborne unhappy.
With a game of this magnitude, you really hate to have the field not in real good shape because of a halftime show, but apparently that's out of our hands. We've called all the people we can to try to get them to back off. You just go out and play. So if there's big ridges down there, we have to hop over the elephant tracks. That'll make for some interesting play calls where you have to avoid the elephant tracks.
We've been working in the field since 2 a.m. and we will continue throughout the day and tomorrow. Thank God there's not going to be any practice tomorrow, so we will be able to have it back in good shape.
Well, tonight, about 2 hours ago, Tom Osborne's Cornhuskers had their final walkthrough at the Orange Bowl, and Osborne praised Max Cruz and the Orange Bowl staff for getting the field in a little better shape than it was earlier today, and they folks down there will be working on it around the clock for tomorrow's game as well. Well, if the turf isn't 100%, will that impact how the running backs play in a positive or a negative way for both teams? Guys, when we talk about the running backs in our Nebraska-Miami matchup, let's start with Miami, Lee, and James Stewart.
Well, Mike, I think Miami will attack the Nebraska's undersized defensive ends. They're only 220 pounds, and they'll do it with James Stewart, who weighs 235 pounds. And he's an excellent runner when it comes to running on the bad field. What I like about him most, if the field is bad, he'll knock your head off and he'll get the extra yards. Craig, he reminds me a lot of Jerome Bettis, the former Notre Dame guy who's now with the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, big, powerful guys. They're not dancers, and I think Lawrence Phillips, he's not a dancer, and neither is James Stewart. So I don't think the bad field condition would affect either one of those guys. Let me tell you about a story. Rich Olson, the offensive coordinator at Miami, he's the running back coach. He was my running back coach at SMU with Dickerson. He told Dickerson and me recently that he compared James Stewart to Dickerson. Thought he was as good or could be as good. Dickerson told him he was crazy. I told him he was crazy. Stewart's got a long ways to go before he becomes Eric Dickerson.
Did he compare him to you at all?
No.
No, he just went for Dickerson.
He just went
better of the two.
Yeah.
Hey, this is just one aspect of this game. We've talked all week about aspect. Put it all together. Lee, give me a checklist of what to look for tomorrow night.
Well, first of all, Mike, when you're going to pick the winner of a ball game like this, you take in certain areas. Now, here's a checklist of areas that I think is very important. Number one, you take up in the trenches, the line. I think Nebraska's offensive line gives the edge to Nebraska here. I give them the number one. The quarterback play. I like Nebraska because they have 2 quarterbacks. Now, Fraser and Behringer. The special teams. I like Nebraska because of Darren Erstad. He's a punter and a long field goal kicker. Now, I give Miami the edge when it comes to the skilled people, especially the wideouts who have got great speed and can catch the football. But I'm picking Nebraska on one fact. Bob Devaney told me at the Colorado game this was the finest Nebraska football team he had ever seen. He's a Hall of Fame coach who had been there 40 years. I'm picking Nebraska by a field goal.
And then he also said that great defense in Nebraska was why he was very impressed with him as well. Let me borrow your checklist just for a moment here, and I'll run through what I think are some of the key things. Trenches, we could talk about the Nebraska offensive line forever. I'm going to stick with that one because they are great. When it comes to quarterback play, I'm a little torn here because I really like Nebraska's guys. I'm giving it to Frank Costa because of the opportunity with man-to-man coverage on the outside. Special teams play, I'm going with Dane Pruitt. He's 13 of 13 from inside the 40-yard line. Kicking will be very important, and I don't have enough check marks for this home field advantage that goes to the Miami Hurricanes. Since 1977, Miami has lost one night game in the Orange Bowl. I think Nebraska is the best football team. They would win 9 out of 10 games at a neutral site. But because it's played in the Orange Bowl, Miami, the mystique, and the jacked-up crowd will win the game. I'll go with Miami.
You mentioned special teams, and you put the check over there for Miami. I think a guy who we have to watch, not just on the offensive end of the special teams, but the defensive end, Barron Miles. He's great at blocking kicks, and Miami's had problems with kicks blocked this year and an uptight, shaky punting situation.
But Barron Miles got one disadvantage. He's 5'8". I can eat spaghetti off his head. He's so small, and he plays near the goal line. Watch Miami throw the lob pass and beat Barron Miles for a touchdown.
But don't forget this. There are a lot of good athletes there. Miami and Nebraska has them, so I don't believe that Nebraska will be intimidated at all when there's a height mismatch. They are excellent players, and their special teams will be a very big part of this ballgame. And that's why I went with Dane Pruitt and the kicking expertise that he has inside that 40-yard line.
People said Nebraska played in front of a nasty atmosphere of the Orange Bowl last year. Florida State and played well. No comparison to what it's going to be like tomorrow night.
Violent.
It'll be a clean home game, even though there are a record number of Nebraska people down here. Well, we are less than 24 hours from our big game down here. This is really the last big preparation day out in Pasadena for what could be the game that decides the national championship when all is said and done. For the latest on the Rose Bowl with Auburn coach Terry Bowden, here's Steve Seifert.
Mike, today Joe Paterno and Rich Brooks said their teams were healthy. And that includes Oregon flanker Kristen McLemore, who earlier in the week did have trouble with an ankle sprain. Other than that, and the fact that his team is facing the #2 team in the country in Penn State, Rich Brooks has had no worries this week. He's come in relaxed. He's hoping his team is relaxed as well.
If there is a concern is that maybe the hype and the circumstances around this, we might come out a little tense or a little tight, and I'm going to try to guard against that and try to not get too full of myself and tight-jawed preparing this football team.
His team has to face, among other things, the reality of Kajana Carter. Good enough for almost 8 yards a carry, and in his last game against Michigan State, he ran for 227 yards and 5 touchdowns. But he has bigger plans in his game against the Ducks.
I like to have a better game. You know, you always want to try to do better than your previous game, and that's how I go into every game. You know, even though I did have a good game against Michigan State, I'm always trying to do better.
It's been emphasized all week long, and ever since we started practicing 2 weeks ago, that we have to tackle him. Because watching films, I mean, he's picked up 10, 15 extra yards just by guys missing tackles.
Use 11 guys to tackle him. I mean, the guy is incredible. That's Bo Jackson.
Speculation has the junior All-American foregoing his senior year for the pros. He says he'll decide after Monday. But he admits the thought of the Rose Bowl as his final game for Penn State has crossed his mind.
I had thought about that. It always goes through your mind. I was thinking of Michigan State, how that might be my last home game in Beaver Stadium. But, you know, if it happens, it happens. But if it doesn't, you know, I'll be back next year.
With me now, Auburn coach Terry Bowden. Coach, you heard Salila Malapei compare Carter to Bo Jackson. As an Auburn guy, is that a fair comparison?
I just don't think it's the right comparison. Bo Jackson represents the classic I-formation tailback. Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, Eric Dickerson, all very tall, very big, and very, very fast. Today's great back, is much shorter, stockier, and also very versatile. I think of Emmitt Smith, Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders. That's the type of back at 5'10", 219 pounds that Kajana Carter is.
Well, good company to be in, but it's all in the NFL. Should he go?
Well, you know, that's where a coach really has to be careful. But Kajana Carter's handling the situation perfectly. He's putting it aside until after their run at the national championship. And then with more time, he can look at all those considerations, be with his family, seek advice, and then make the right decision. Very hard for a coach to come here and try to sway a person because so much is on the line.
All right, Coach, thanks as always. That's it from Pasadena. Mike, back to you.
Steve, Terry, thank you. Let's go back to what Salila Malapala said. His name's a mouthful, and he said a mouthful comparing Carter to Bo Jackson.
Well, and I can go back. I don't care what size they are. When you try to compare to Bo Jackson, that is something else. Bo's a great football player, was a great player. But I would take Kajana Carter over a Bo Jackson as a football player. Bo is a slasher. He had speed. Kajana can slash, he can dance, and he has speed, too. That's awesome. Plus, he catches the ball extremely well. I think Oregon will play good in this ball game in terms of the team aspect. And that Kristen McLemore playing, Coach, I think in the red zone, that's really going to help them quite a bit.
Craig, I'm going to answer Steve's question that Terry didn't. I think Kajana Carter should go to the pros. You know why? He's number 2 in a Heisman. He's a great runner. One shot, and he's out of there. Number 2 in that reaction, Joe Paterno will win this ball game and become the first football coach ever to win the 4 major bowl games. That's quite an honor for Paterno.
Pony, what about Carter going to the NFL early?
Hey, I've had a lot of conversations with him. He realizes that it would probably not be wise to go back because of the injury factor. Look at Tyrone Wheatley, what happened to him. That's what I'd do. I'd believe I'd be in the NFL.
You know, you mentioned Wheatley. People forgot. He's still at 1,000 yards this year, but certainly stocked down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's synchronize our watches. 46 hours from now, the Penn State game's done. The Orange Bowl game is done. Here's your ballot. Who's number 1? Who's number 2?
Okay, Nebraska's number 1. I think they win by a field goal. Penn State's number 2. I think they bomb Oregon.
Well, since I'm going with Miami to win this ball game, I have to say that Penn State will be the national champion this season. Miami will be number 2, Nebraska number 3.
And that would have Miami fans rooting for Oregon out of the Pac-10 to have some success. The Pac-10 team having success right now. Washington State, the Palouse Posse getting it done on the defensive end, and on the offensive end, Kevin Hicks getting the job done. A Cougar touchdown. The Alamo Bowls at halftime, and Washington State leads by 10.
Hey, Follies fans. What you're about to see is a fantasy based on actual products from Home Shopping Club.
Hi, girls. Joe, is that you, girl? Hi, girl. Hi, girl. Hi, girl. What a show.
Home Shopping Club. Surprising what you find at home.
Remember when you could buy a soda, drink it, and return the empty bottle? You only paid for what you used and cashed in what you didn't want anymore. Just like at Buzz Post Pontiac GMC Isuzu, only pay for what you use. Buzz is a 36-month smart buy in this 95 Grand Am sedan. For payments less than $250 per month, this V6 4-speed automatic with tilt steering, touring tires, AC, power door locks, 4-wheel anti-lock brakes, and driver's side airbag is yours with credit approval. Only pay for what you use. Only at Buzz.
Great togetherness.
Saluting an American tradition, 125 years of college football. From Red Grange to the modern grace of Olympian Tracy Calkins, the flavor and pageantry of all 21 men's and women's collegiate sports come alive at the NCAA Visitor Center. Come celebrate the magic moments in college sports at the NCAA Visitor Center, open year-round in Kansas City.
Little Dolphin celebration, little preparation for New Year's Eve as well. We're 2 hours and 7 minutes away. Always wanted to beat Dick Clark on New Year's Eve. Getting ready for New Year's 1995. Our final halftime here at 94. We're at Cocoa Walk, Coconut Grove in South Florida. Over to the north of us in Atlanta, there's another important playoff game, a bowl game, I should say, coming up tomorrow. It's the Peach Bowl, and we've been talking so much about Nebraska and the offensive line matchup that they have. There's another interesting trench warfare battle setting up in tomorrow's Peach Bowl. For a preview of that, here's Joel Myers.
When you talk about beef up front, Mike, you naturally think of the Nebraska offensive line, but there's also some serious size down south. In fact, the offensive line from Mississippi State averages 325 pounds. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers along with Todd Blackledge. Welcome to the Georgia Dome.
as we get ready for the 27th annual Peach Bowl. With that kind of size in the trenches, you know Mississippi State wants to get the ground game going early.
Well, you're right, Joe. And you know the amazing thing about this offensive line is not only are they huge, they're also very athletic. These guys can really move. And what they like to do in a game, line up shoe to shoe and slam it at you with one of their two tailbacks. They'll start with Kevin Bowie. He's a 225-pound guy. He can make you miss as well. When he gets tired, they'll go to Michael Davis. Davis, he'd just as soon run over you as do anything. These two have combined for over 1,800 yards rushing this season.
So plenty of pressure now on the Wolfpack defensive unit, especially to their front seven. And as their head coach Mike O'Kane told us, they need to get leadership once again from defensive end Carl Reeves.
I've never coached a young man that plays with more intensity, more tenacity than Carl Reeves. He's a tremendously emotional young man, and I don't care whether it's in August, in March, in April. When he does anything, he does it full speed.
Carl Reeves is a little bit undersized to be playing on that defensive front, but I'll tell you what, he's going to have to play big for the Wolfpack in this game.
So the matchup, the speed and finesse of North Carolina State against the power of Mississippi State. Let's go back to Miami now and rejoin Mike Tirico.
Joel and Todd, thanks for the opportunity to flip over during the Orange Bowl, lulls in the game, and get caught up in the Peach Bowl as well. Chris gets to babysit the rest of the way with you guys at halftime for our next couple of bowl games, so thank you. It's been a very enjoyable year.
Hey, it's like great year, too quick.
Yeah, it was. Let's get August back real quick to get the season going. And it's 1995, so hopefully we're a year closer to a college football playoff, whatever that may be. We've got the second half of the Builders Square Alamo Bowl coming up. Back to Dave and Doc and Dan in Texas. At halftime, the Palouse Posse up by 10.
Gather up your ideas. Run with them. Where do you want to go today?
Where does a thoughtful son like Ray Carter get what it takes to redo his mom's kitchen? Let's go back to square one. Builder Square has over 100,000 square feet of just what you need to do any job. Paint and wallpaper, faucets and track lights, floor tiles and countertops. Whatever you're redoing, remember who has everything, including the kitchen sink, at great square deal prices.
Lay your tile from the middle out.
Builder Square.
They'll get you squared away.
The best thing about teaching at Baylor is that you're at a university where teaching matters.
This university is for the students.
We really do believe that the student is the center of the academic universe and that they're not here to serve us, but that we're here to serve them.
It's understood that we are involved with our students and that we do all we can to help our students to do the best they can.
When our students excel, we excel. That's success for the Baylor faculty members.
Welcome back to the Alamo Bowl, where the score is Washington State 10, Baylor nothing. The city of San Antonio has a reputation of friendly people and fun things to do, and we've had a great time this weekend, and we thought that you might like to take a look for yourself at the great city of San Antonio, Texas.
From football to Fiesta, Texas, the South Central Texas city of San Antonio is settling in as one of the United States' most versatile towns. One of the fastest growing trends in the Alamo City is the sports scene, and the state-of-the-art Alamo Dome serves as the perfect venue for anything between basketball and football. A city of nearly 1 million people, San Antonio is the 10th largest city in the United States and has always been a very popular stop for the tourists. One main reason is the historic Riverwalk. Constructed in the early 1900s, the Riverwalk is as much a trademark of San Antonio as the symbol of Texas independence, the Alamo. San Antonio is also unique in its cultural makeup. The Mexican-American culture is quite prevalent. Nearly 56% of the city is of Hispanic origin. And that deep, rich culture can be explored around town in the 4 beautiful Spanish missions, dated back to the 1700s. That heritage, along with a metropolitan feel, creates an interesting mix. In fact, many who live in the Alamo City refer to it as the largest small town in America, a place where you can easily get around and feel at home. However, don't get the wrong impression. Among other things, San Antonio boasts one of the nation's leading medical centers. University of Texas Health Science Center serves as a research base, paving the road in many medical areas, including cancer and heart studies. In one neat, clean package, San Antonio has it all for those who wish to visit or call it home. From its many markets and shopping areas to the Riverwalk to the tantalizing array of South Texas foods. Nearly perfect weather, too. An annual average of nearly 70 degrees makes most days comfortable for anything imaginable, such as visits to the area theme parks like SeaWorld or Fiesta Texas, a venue they call a show place like no place on earth. Tucked in between the scenic cliffs of the hill country, Fiesta Texas is, well, a Texas-sized treat. From its Broadway caliber music productions to the breathtaking rides to the challenging games and boardwalk, Fiesta Texas is more than a day full of fun. Open most of the year, it's a must-see for the whole family when visiting San Antonio.